Hey everyone, thanks for watching. We're in Arles for the next several days and are doing our best to see all the sights. There's quite a bit to see here. This town is a perfect place to explore Roman ruins by walking straight into the center of them.
It's another really nice day.
There are ruins located around every corner, and you'll notice them immediately upon arrival because not far from the train station, you'll walk through a Roman gate to reach the old part of the city. To get you grounded, Arles is in the south of France between Marseille and Lyon. If you're traveling to other local cities, this is a great spot to stay. You're near Nîmes and Avignon, two other towns worth exploring that, like Arles, are suitable home bases for the area. You can also learn about the time the Romans were here by visiting the local historical museums. I'll show you those in this video as well. Our initial stop is where I'm sure most tourists go on their first day, and that's the arena in the center of town. Plan to purchase the Arles Card. We were able to do so at the arena's ticket office. This board provides a summary of the value the card offered at the time of filming. The prices illustrate that this card is quite a deal. You'll want to visit all included stops. In addition to this UNESCO World Heritage Site, the card gives you access to 5 more sites and monuments and 4 museums. The card also has a discount to the Vincent van Gogh Foundation. The Dutch artist moved to Arles in 1888, and many of his well-known works were painted here. He loved the colors of this part of France, especially yellow. Through the town, you'll see placards that show where he painted. 2 of his notable works are his Garden of the Hospital in Arles and his Café Terrace at Night. You'll recognize them as soon as you come across them. Here's another one outside the arena, capturing a live event inside. If 10 sites translate into too much history for you, or if you're only here for a short time, there is a tier of this card that offers a few less stops for a reduced price. Personally, I would say purchase the one with the most sites included and do your very best to see them all. The graphic in the upper right corner shows that they're all close by. If for some reason you only have time for one site in Arles, the arena is the one to choose. Let's head in and you'll see why.
Let's go this way. Find that elusive cat. The one from a few moments ago. She scarpered.
The arena was constructed in the late 1st and early 2nd century. Over the ages, it was transformed into other uses to accommodate the city's needs at any particular time. In the 19th century, it was returned to its original state. The restorations it received, along with the original parts from almost 2,000 years ago, make this a must-see stop. What's nice is you can walk through the arena from just about every level. I decided to get as low down as possible and then work my way up to get a somewhat aerial view of the entire building, as well as some nice shots of local wildlife flocking above me.
Careful. There's a handrail, which is helpful. I think this is as close as we can get to the arena, because it's still used in modern times.
Here I am at the arena level, which you can probably figure out from the name, is covered in sand. The tiered seating behind me was called the cavea and was divided by social class. The higher up you were in society, the lower down you were allowed to sit. Now I'll head into the second tier of the cavea, which was where the general public sat.
Steep steps.
I'm off to the upper deck, the area once reserved for women and children. Maybe it's just me, and I know you can't view performances as well from this height, but I still like it all the way up here.
Tall steps, maybe, not so steep.
And not to be limited by 2,000-year-old architecture, I decided to climb even higher via the modern bleachers that were available. Upon noticing people ascending the tower, I realized that I can still go higher, and that's what I did.
Here I am.
Spend as much time as you like reading through the history, admiring the sweeping views you can get from the top of the towers, or just enjoying the arena, corridors, and the seating area. Our next stop was a very short walk from the arena, the Ancient Theater.
Inside?
There's information available at the entrance, and there's a video you can watch once you're on the grounds of the site.
Les colonies, cités de droit romain peuplées de citoyens, sont implantées en des lieux stratégiques.
Built around the same time as the nearby arena, construction started in the 1st century.
So we're now backstage.
Right now I'm behind the stage of the Ancient Theater. Let's enter the stage area in the center and get a look at what remains of the seating area that was able to hold around 8,000 spectators. I was told events held here today hold around 2,000 to 3,000 guests. The total amount may change depending on the size of the event, any ongoing construction, or inclusion or exclusion of extra temporary seating. The 2 Corinthian columns are from the stage wall, which was around 3 stories in height. Over the centuries, parts of this theater were used for contemporary construction, so it's less intact than the arena. That said, you'll still be able to imagine how grand it once was. The video near the entrance to this site helps put these ruins into spatial perspective. When you visit the Museum of Ancient Arles, you'll also get to see a model that represents what this theater looked like during its initial use in Roman times. I'll show you where the parts of the theater that are no longer here once stood. You get a nice view of some of it from the top of the current seating area. Exiting the theater, make your way to the Summer Garden.
Second right. I see it. It's like a succulent garden. That's really pretty. I believe this is a cypress, isn't it? I don't know what type.
We were here in November. Even though the weather was still nice, I can only imagine how beautiful this space is during the spring and summer seasons when everything is in full bloom.
I think I see him. Ready?
As you'd expect, Vincent liked it here too. There's still quite a bit to see, so when you come to Arles, plan on spending a few days here if your schedule allows. Another stop on our sightseeing tour was Constantine's thermal baths. The remnants of these baths are located closer to the Rhone River, not far from the ancient theater, and not far from the remaining sites I'll mention. This is a walkable city, so you won't spend too much time getting from site to site, but it does make sense to cluster some of these together. Google Maps, guidebooks, and the Arles tourism map helped us figure out our schedules by grouping sites together near places where we wanted to eat for lunch or for dinner, or to shop.
Come here, little buddy. Come here.
Just like in the arena, you may encounter the occasional wandering cat.
We should have brought Bonkers from home. I bet she would love Bonkers. Come here, buddy.
If you like cats, then you'll like Arles. Several of them were roaming the streets. They all seemed friendly, although most were rather standoffish. It was really windy at this time of day, especially since we were close to the Rhone River. You're welcome to explore the thermal baths on your own. There seemed to be a great deal of trust in visitors throughout all the landmarks we visited. I noticed that as long as you stay on the walkways and don't try to get into any area that seems to be off limits, you're allowed to roam as you like, which was a nice feeling.
I hear pigeons somewhere. I just don't see them.
I've walked through several Roman baths on prior vacations, and I always like exploring them as you can see how they worked at one time. The different levels still give clues as to where the water ran, where it was heated, and where the people would bathe. Enough of the bathhouse here in Arles is still intact where you can recreate it as you explore. Our next stop was the Porticos, which are covered corridors located under the town hall. In Roman times, the plaza was lower than it is today. Let's head down.
More columns.
During the excavation of this site, several items were found. Some of them are now on display in the Museum of Ancient Arles, which I'll get to shortly. There are signs along the way to explain what you're seeing. Most of what I saw written was in French, so if that isn't one of your stronger languages, remember to bring a guidebook with you.
It is eerily quiet. Better lighting.
It's definitely damp down here. It hadn't been raining that heavily during our stay, although I imagine it gets quite wet down here during major thunderstorms. There are street drains directly above us.
It's a sewer grate to the outside. The current Arles. So this is former Arles. I forget what year. We'll have to look it up. And up there is current Arles. I can hear it. I can hear civilization. All those archaeology classes I took in college are paying off now. It's beautiful.
Moving out of Roman times for a bit, let's enter the St. Trophime Cloisters, located close to the town hall.
All right, we found it.
The church nearby also bears the name of this saint, who was a bishop in Arles during the late 2nd and early 3rd centuries. As you circumnavigate the cloisters, you can home in on quite a bit of artistic details that remain, including some beautiful stained glass windows. You can also walk out onto the rooftop to see an aerial view of the cloisters.
I've got the entire rooftop to myself.
On a side note, we arrived late one afternoon, just about the time it was closing. We had to return the following day. Just a friendly reminder to make sure you know the times everything is open so you can schedule appropriately. This stop was one of my favorites. You can wander through the cloisters and rooms and learn a bit of history through exhibits. Quite a bit of information is in French, although this video had English subtitles.
Placés aux deux extrémités de la galerie nord, Saint-Trophime et Saint-Étienne encadrent et protègent l'ensemble de l'édifice.
There's art, mostly sculptures, although here's a large oil canvas by French painter François Lemoyne. It's entitled The Healing of the Blind. Per the placard, Lemoyne painted this, however he passed away prior to completion. One of his students finished the work. The Museum of Ancient Arles has many artifacts pertaining to the history of this city, especially Roman times. This site was the farthest from the center of town, although the walk along the Rhone still didn't take long to get there. We took our time, making it there in half an hour or so from the city center. There's a boat on display that was excavated from the Rhone River nearby. A small theater in the museum runs a documentary-style video on a loop in French that shows how the excavation was completed via actual footage and interviews from archaeologists and other workers who were involved. Here's a 3D underwater model of how the boat was unearthed. It's hard to imagine excavating a wooden boat not only underwater, but also under the riverbed. The team had to do all this in dive gear while making sure not to damage the discovery. This model does a great job of showing how it was done, and it comes complete with random items thrown into the river. The exhibit also gives quite a bit of detail on the shipping of cargo via boats like this on the Rhone across Roman France.
So these were all found in the Rhone then too, right? Right with the boat.
The museum also has a nice selection of Roman sculpture and mosaics. The layout is designed to let you walk above and see the entire mosaic at once. And if you like sarcophagi, well, they have plenty of these as well. As noted earlier, some items excavated from the Porticos are now housed in this museum. I think we spent about 2 hours in total in this museum. You could spend more or less depending on your interest in Roman artifacts. Another site a bit farther out from the city center is the Necropolis.
Can we go in?
We walked here from our Airbnb close to the arena, and it took about 20 minutes. This cemetery was originally Roman. It became Christian in the 4th century and was one of the most well-known cemeteries in the Western world during the Middle Ages. It consisted of tombs, chapels, and funeral monuments. As the information signs will tell you upon entering, little of those remain. Quite a bit of the sarcophagi were looted from here in the Middle Ages for use as troughs in local farms. Some are still on the grounds. You'll see them on the main walk. Feel free to wander into the tombs and the buildings that still stand. I don't know how busy these sites get during peak travel season, but I will say during our time in Arles, we had so much of the city to enjoy with little to no crowds. Like other sites, there's information available in French and English to help you better understand what you're seeing. This is yet another location where Van Gogh worked.
Van Gogh. Sure enough.
There are 3 other museums included with your Arles card. We went to 2 of them as they are close to all the other sites in town. The Arlaten Museum allows you to walk through multiple exhibits and experience what it was like to live in Arles over the centuries. You'll immediately notice the Roman ruins it's built on as you walk into the courtyard. If you have any questions on how the building now sits on this foundation, a nearby model will help you out. There's also a basement to top floor glass elevator and staircase that open up the building further, helping you get a feel for the architecture. It also modernizes your surroundings. The museum got its origins from the help of Frederick Mistral and some of his contemporaries. Here's a sculpture of him in the town's Forum Plaza. He's a well-known poet in this part of France who wrote in the Provençal form of language that was used in this area, but not so much elsewhere. His writings won him the Nobel Prize in Literature. The finances received from this recognition helped with the basis of this museum. The point of the museum is to preserve the culture of Arles and the area. It does a great job of doing that.
Look at these interesting masks.
This is a museum that is great for all ages. You'll see quite a bit of folk art, traditional Arlesian dress, and information about local agriculture over the years. Several of the exhibits are interactive to better explain everything you're seeing. The museum takes you through all the major times throughout the history of Arles.
Closed off. I presume we can walk on it? Maybe. Yeah, well, I guess we have to. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Next, the Réattu Fine Arts Museum exhibits works of art that are worth taking the time to admire. The museum is housed in a 15th century building near the Rhone River. It was once used by the Order of Malta.
Cool how we're right on the river.
Eventually, it was owned by Jacques Réattu, who lived and worked here until his death. His family, particularly his daughter Elizabeth, ended up with the building and the painter's collection. Today, it's owned by the city, and you get to enjoy all the art inside. Like so many museums these days, in addition to the works that are inside, the building is also worth admiring. Here's a portrait of Elizabeth painted in 1842. Quite a bit of the art was modern, so if you like that style, you'll enjoy what's on display. To recap, we visited everything included with the Arles Card except the Camargue Museum. Time ran out on us. We also didn't have a rental car on this trip, which would have helped. One other site, not included with the Arles Card, but still close by that we would have liked to visit is the Luma Tower, designed by Frank Gehry. Here's a view of it from atop the arena. The next time we're in this area, we'll be sure to get there. Arles is welcoming to everyone. The preservation and care of the history throughout the city is quite impressive.
Roman-inspired garden. This is kind of fun. The Minotaur. Now I get it. Who knows where you're going to pop up? Don't run into the Minotaur. That's a bad omen.